Bhruguvalli section 10 था ना, verse 3.
It's page 318.
318. And it, Atha Devi, right? That was the one. So I had explained everything, and then we were going to do the Swamiji's, read the Swamiji's commentary. That's where we were. Okay. So let me do the prayers. Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanao Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karva Vahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu Ma Vidvishavahaihi. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om. Om Shanno Mitra Sham Varunaha Shanno Bhavatvaryama Shanna Indro Bruhaspatihi Shanno Vishnurukramaha Namo Brahmane Namaste Vayo Tvameva Pratyaksham Brahmasi Tvameva Pratyaksham Brahma Vadishyami Ritam Vadishyami Satyam Vadishyami Tanma Vavatu Tad Vaktaram Avatu Avatu Mam Avatu Vaktaram. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. So we are at a section where the upasanas are going on, and the teacher is telling, it's the same thing like a vibhuti, if you think about it. See God everywhere. And then how to see, they're giving some tips, and whoever is interested in whichever part of the universe can pick that. You start with, your own self. You can think about God in all different ways. And then, on different things in the world and different things in the universe. Everything is covered. So this one is Adi Devik hoega. But obviously on the thing that they are saying is superimposing something higher. That's how we have to look at the whole picture. So our heart expands. In the end, we have to encompass the whole universe. How to do it? These are the things, so that we don't stay in our this limited thing, my God is right here in this murti or something like that, or my world is just this, just expanding more and more and more. Jitna expand karenge utna apne liye better hoega. So that's the whole idea. So this particular verse is talking about satisfaction in the rain, power in the lightning, fame in the cattle. So it's taking you from the rain to the ऊपर ले जा रहा है सीधा, right? शुरू किया rain से, and then gone into lightning, fame in the cattle, light in the stars. So कभी नीचे लेके आए, कभी ऊपर लेके गए, सब cover कर दिया. And then it talked about our reproductive organs, which was like a shock, वहाँ से यहाँ ले आए. And then it's saying everything is you think of Akash is supporting everything same way. That is the upasana. So we'll read Swamiji's comment. Who would like to read? Any volunteers? Okay, Urmilji.
Now follows the meditation upon the Adhivakya.
No, it is Adi Devik.
Adhidevika. Adhidevika. As satisfaction in the rains, as power in the lightning, as fame in the cattle, as light in the stars, as offspring, immortality, and joy in the organs of procreation, and as all in the Akasha. Shall I continue?
Yes.
In this section, we find a type of meditation wherein, though the point of meditation is upon some manifested phenomenon in nature, an unmanifested ideal or concept is superimposed upon these points of concentration. Though rains sometimes have their own nuisance value and can bring about floods in certain places and consequent misery to man and things, it generally brings satisfaction to the great majority all over the face of the globe. Plants get thrilled and laugh out into tender foliage and brilliant flowers as the rains descend. Animal life becomes extremely happy as the pasture lands dress up in their green velveteen. The farmers everywhere dance in joy as the rains descend. Nay, even the mill owners, if they are not merely financiers, they too take an active interest in rains and feel thrilled with proper rainfall at proper seasons, since their raw materials too depend upon this benevolence of the skies.
I think Swamiji got extremely poetic, beautiful, like a poetry he did so nicely. So now we know, and California में तो हम लोग को rain की value मालूम है, right? यहाँ पर थोड़ा सा भी rain कम होती है तो oh my God सब परेशान हो जाते हैं. And we know when it rains, कितना सब कुछ fresh हो जाता है सब कुछ. I always try to say, I'm saving on my water. I turned my sprinklers off. It's a great thing. Without rain, humans cannot survive. Let's put it this way. So, but the most important thing they're trying to teach us over here, these are manifested phenomena. Everybody has seen the rain, except probably some people in the क्या बोलते हैं वो desert में, मैंने सुना कि आई एम फ्रॉम मुंबई में बहुत रेन होती है ना, तो शुरू में वो कोई एक शेख आया होगा. Nowadays everybody travels everywhere. I'm talking about like 40 something years ago, 50 years ago. And it seems some rich guy came and he went to the Taj Hotel, and जब वो रेन आई ना तो उसने सारी खिड़कियां खोल दी because he was just so fascinated by the rain. And I tell you, अगर मुंबई की रेन में heavy rain में खोल दो ना खिड़की, बाढ़ आ जाएगी अंदर. So it was all over the news that this guy, this rich fellow got so fascinated. And then later on, they actually had a rain cafe there, where all these Arabs used to come, and they would rain and they would have chai under the umbrella or something. They do crazy stuff, So anyway, what they're trying to show over here is that you take the phenomena which you know, but superimpose something bigger and on it. So that satisfaction is a representation of God. That when the rain comes, how we feel the satisfaction that comes for different people. And Swamiji explained, from the plants to the animals, to the farmers, to the businessmen. तो बिजनेसमैन के भी गड़बड़ हो जाएगा अगर रेन में नहीं आएगी, तो वो बेचेगा क्या फिर अगर फार्मर्स वॉन्ट ब्रिंग थिंग्स, राइट? Everybody feels great, happy, satisfied with the rain. That's what he's trying to say. So I think we got the picture.
Mm-hmm. To see satisfaction in the rain is a subtle form of meditation indeed. So too is to recognize pain in the cattle wealth of a country which is essentially and irredeemably agricultural. The stars in the summer sky may lie scattered in 100 different directions, some small, others big, some nearer, others farther, some solitary, others in group, and yet in all of them there's a principle of light that knits them together into one family, a family of incandescent glory.
So we see कि कोई भी star हो उसमें light है, right? And that light is a representation of that Brahman. So that is, I think that these are such beautiful methods of meditation, isn't it? Like, say, hey, what do I think? What do I do? Hey, even to think all this, you feel some warmth in yourself, that, hey, I can see something beyond. So that it's such an amazing thing that they're simple things that we all can see and relate to, but to go beyond it to see something bigger, that's what these Rishi Munis have made it simpler for us, for this kind of meditation. Yeah.
Even the reproductory organ is not excluded, be it in the stamen or in the pistil, in the male or in the female, in man or in woman, for purpose of meditation. The seekers, being young, would naturally at that age be spending, in spite of themselves, a lot of thought upon the organs of procreation, and this obvious sex instinct is not ignored, but conscripted for the higher purpose of self-integration. To ignore it and to encourage its suppression is a sure path for self-disintegration. Offspring, immortality, and joy can be recognized upon these genital organs. It is obvious that in the concept of space, we can easily recognize a substratum for all things in the universe.
So, I mean, we already discussed that. So Swamiji is giving even more explanation that he's talking to these young people and he's saying, "Usme bhi Bhagwan ko dekho." Matlab, you cannot escape now God. The vibhuti you're going on over there and over here, is there anything that they have not covered? They have covered everything. And vibhuti to abhi khatam bhi nahi hua hai. Wahan par abhi to aur bhi chalega. Kitni jagah Bhagwan ko dekhenge. So I think these are the things that we can accomplish by studying Upanishads and Bhagavad Gita and all that. That, okay, God is everywhere. You just keep saying, but how to see God in everything? They're giving you such beautiful, poetic way, practical way. Whoever you are, in whichever ashram you are, everybody is covered thoroughly. Nobody is excluded in it. That's how I'm looking at it. It's quite amazing, that recognize the substratum for all things in the universe. That's the main thing. And that it kind of helps us to get away from our ego also. Oh, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, or, I have all these skills. Hey, where it's coming from? It's coming from that God only, from every aspect of it. So there are many different aspects to this type of upasana, but the whole idea is that this is mainly for the people who are still struggling how to connect to God. That's why they are saying, because Bhrugu already got the highest kind of glimpse, but this is for all of us, and I think that's what we have to see in this. Any question, comment? So we can go to the next verse in this.
I just wanted to comment very quickly that I think it is the open-mindedness of our religion, of Hinduism, that we include even reproductory organs into a form of meditation. I mean, a very practical point is made here that when you try to suppress something, then instead of going away from that, people will focus more on it.
Correct. Absolutely.
क्यों हमको कोई चीज रिफ्यूज की जा रही है? तो what a nice way, वो कह रहे हैं यंगर लोग हैं, make that a form of meditation. I mean, I just think it is such a practical idea कि just like stars, just like rain, just like everything else,
right,
they are doing this also. Whereas in some other religions, I mean, it is taboo.
It is absolutely. What you?
आप कह देते हैं उसको, तो younger people जो हैं, they will be driven away from religion क्योंकि उनको तो भाई, they are young, whatever it is. So I think this is such a brilliant stroke of genius over here, if you ask me.
Yeah, I absolutely. I'm so glad you brought that point, because that's what is the beauty, and that's why you respect this so much. All the research and all that they have done everything together. Nothing is a taboo, no discussion, and everything can be divinized.
Yeah,
that's what, because part of nature, right? And
it is a part of nature. It is a part of creation.
Exactly, for the world to go around.
In your meditation, I mean, instead of saying कि कभी भी मत सोचो ऐसे गंदे ध्यान मत लाओ मन में,
exactly,
क्या करो तो young लोग तो भाग जाएंगे.
Yeah.
But this is such a wonderful way. I mean, the people who are already over that will not think of that, obviously, when they are meditating. But I like the inclusiveness of this idea.
No, thank you for bringing that point. And how Swamiji took this reproductive to the nature also, among the flowers and and all that too. So why do we have to just think of human, the whole world? And I remember that it was Krishna's, in that serial, Mahabharata serial, he was discussing about, birth in the world, right? So he's saying that you look at the flower before the fruit is supposed to be the offspring. in a plant, like fruit. So before the fruit, flower comes. So he's saying that before the fruit is going to come, Bhagwan usko sugandh or beauty se bhar deta hai. You know, to have another life come in the world is an amazing thing.
Yes.
And even the nature is celebrating. You know, that's the point he brought, and we don't think about it that way.
Yeah.
And it ties it to the scientific explanation also, that
yes.
the theory of evolution and
Yeah.
survival. So more we multiply, more chances are that we will survive.
Yes. And we know that when we go to these Puranic stories, you know, pehle unhone wo Saptarishi, stories made. Huh? And then they were only meditating. And then Brahmaji said, nothing doing, go and get married, have children.
Right, right.
So and then our teacher used to say, like Ram Bhagwan, Krishna Bhagwan, they all are happily married people. You know, they have many offsprings and all that. So that is not a bar in spirituality. If somebody koi bachpan se vairagi hai and they don't want household thing, that's also fine. But that's one path, this another. Both of them you can get self-realized. It's not like you have to, and then when it comes to, you know, sannyasa, Bhagwan Krishna gave a totally different definition of sannyasa. Okay? Sannyasi is the one who has risen above his likes and dislikes. You could be a family man or you could be a sannyasi. अगर सन्यासी कोई outer कपड़े उसने सन्यासी के पहन लिए, घर बार छोड़ दिया, मगर he is still living in likes and dislikes constantly, then he is not a sannyasi. He is a jhuta sannyasi. You know? So whole thing is, if you understand Vedanta correctly, it is an extremely scientific thing.
Yes.
You know, and anybody can practice it anywhere, and no condition, no circumstances is a bar. You know, so great.
Just a side question. Why did Swamiji, he didn't get married? Do you know why he didn't get married?
I think that that's what I'm saying, that these people are, that उनका जो वैराग्य जो है ना, वो बड़ा strong होता है बचपन से. So and that is their path. That is their destiny and all that. And we may think, oh, he's missing out on something. It's not like that, because he says that, hey, you think that I don't have children? All of you are my children. You know, and we saw that in this particular Upanishad also, that it was like said that these praja means, if somebody is married, so your children are your praja, but these sannyasis and all that, everybody is their praja, whoever is their devotees. You know, so there are so many people. Like when we go to Hare Krishna, there are about 7-8 young monks. In teenage, they start, and then they take. So that is their path. But they're not discouraging anybody from getting married or anything like that. Whoever wants to, there are a lot of devotees who are married ones too. Husband, wife, both are. Their children are too. So, that just their mental makeup is like that. That they chose that path, that's all. And that's why they said that Krishna Bhagavan chose Arjun to give the Gita ka gyan. He did not pick up any sannyasi from there. He was a family man with he had several wives, he had children, he had responsibility, everything, just like all of us. So shall we go to the next one? Okay. So it's tat pratishtha iti upasita. I'm breaking the sandhi. Pratishthavan bhavati. Tad maha it upasita mahan bhavati. Tad mana it upasita manvan bhavati. Actually, iti upasita. Tad namaha iti upasita namyate asmai kamaha. Tad brahma iti upasita brahmavan bhavati. Tad brahmanah parimar it upasita prayenam mriyante dvishantah sampantaha pari ye apriya bhatruvyaha. It's difficult. but I went through it. Anyway, we'll see at least some words we might get the meaning. Tat is that, now we know. Pratishtha iti. Pratishtha bolte na, uski pratishtha, support actually. So, upasita, let him meditate. Pratishthavan, well supported. Bhavati, he become. Basically, they are saying कि if you do the upasana of Brahman as a support, you get supported in the world. Huh? So that thought is going on here. Tat, again that Brahman. Maha iti, Maha Mahan. Maha means Mahan, as great. If you do the upasana as Brahman as a great, upasita, let him meditate or meditate upon it. Mahan, great Bhavati. You become Mahan. And then he says Tat, again that Brahman. Mana iti, as mind. If you some people says ना एक वो फिल्मी गाना भी है, मेरा मन दर्पण कहलाए, अच्छे बुरे का सब मेरे मन में पता चल जाता है मुझे. भगवान ही है मन जैसे, भगवान का ही मैनिफेस्टेशन है एक्चुअली. सो इफ यू डू द उपासना ऑफ ब्रह्मन एज माइंड, देन यू बिकम मानवान भवति. उपासित इज लेट हिम मेडिटेट ऑन दैट. मानवान, थॉटफुल और मननशील हो जाते हो. यू विल बी एबल टू कॉन्टेम्पलेट एंड विल सी मोर इनटू इट. Bhavati is of course becomes. Tat is again that Brahman. Namaha iti. Obeisance मतलब नमस्कार करना बोलते हैं ना. Om Namah Shivaya Namaha, प्रणाम करना. That's what Namah means. Namah iti, उसको upasita, if you meditate upon it as Namaha, namyante, they come to pay homage. Who come to me? Asmay, to him. Kamaha, all desire. और डिजायर प्रणाम करने लगेगी तुमको. इसका मतलब क्या? दे विल, जैसे बोलते हैं ना कि माया भगवान की दासी है. हाँ, क्या करूं सेवा. सो वैसे ही अगर तुम यू मेडिटेट अपॉन भगवान एज नमस्कार, नमः, so all the things will get, desire will get fulfilled of yours. All the objects of the world will come to you. That again, that Brahman. Brahma iti, as Brahman. And Brahma का मतलब large भी होता है. The meaning of the word Brahman in Sanskrit means the biggest. Like our teacher used to say, when you say large, we have a relative concept in our mind. Hey, what is large? If you see a small mouse and then you see a cat, then cat is large. Then you see like a dog, then dog is large. When you see a lion, that's larger. When you see a hathi, that's larger. It's relative. But when you say the big, something which is nothing is bigger than that, that is Brahman. The ultimate, causeless cause, So iske liye usko Brahma is largest. If you do that, let him meditate on that. Brahmavan bhavati. Then you get the highest, biggest thing in the world. Bhavati, you become that. Tat, again Brahman. Brahmana of Brahman. Parimara. Now this is going to be a little bit subtle subject, confusing, but I will right now I'll leave the word meaning, we'll go more in the deeper meaning. If you look at Brahman as a universal, destructive aspect, जो शिवा का डिस्ट्रक्टिव एस्पेक्ट है ना, उस पे मेडिटेट करो, देन क्या होगा? परिएनम, अराउंड हिम म्रियंते, अराउंड हिम विल डाई. हु विल डाई? द्विषवंतः, द हेटफुल, द पीपल हु हेट यू. संपन्ना, एनिमीज. परि इज तो अगेन डाई. ये दोज who are apriyaha, unloving. Bhatruvyas, rival. People who are unloving, who are rivals, who are enemies, who hate you and all that, they all die. So I say, ये क्या बोल दिया इन्होंने? We don't want to be like सारे enemies को खत्म कर दिया. नहीं, उसके पीछे meaning है कुछ. तो हम लोग वो meaning, so when I go through it, we will do. Okay? So, because when it comes to Upanishads and all that, don't go by just word meaning. You will be in trouble. इसके पीछे क्या बोलना चाहते हैं वो हम लोग को देखना पड़ेगा. थोड़ा suspense. I'm sure you already read, most of you read the commentary. It's not a suspense, but anyway. So what are they saying over here? And then Swamiji is going to explain that there is a saying, as you think, so you become. और वो एक बहुत अच्छी आई थिंक रामायण की है ना, जिसमें जैसी रही भावना जैसी प्रभु मूरत तिन देखी जैसी. तो वही है कि जैसी भावना है वैसा तुमको सब कुछ मिलेगा. All that fits over here. That whatever we meditate Brahman as, and with whatever attitude we take, that comes to us. कोई भी चीज पे तुम concentrate करोगे ना, वो तुम्हें मिलेगी. That's what it is they're trying to say. So, so if you meditate Brahman with a certain attitude, that those qualities, those values, they come within us. So इसमें बोला है कि पहला क्या बोला है कि if you look at Brahman as an Aadhar of everything, you will be well supported in the world. It's like one of those things. I think I was discussing with somebody the other day that, sometimes you do something for somebody, suppose. And then in the family or outside with the friends or to a stranger, I don't care. Suppose you did somebody a favor, right? So कभी-कभी वर्ल्डली देखने का होता है ना, तो ऐसा होता है मैंने उसका इतना किया, उसने मेरा कुछ नहीं किया. कभी-कभी ऐसा होता था ना, like when you don't study Vedanta and all that, तो हिसाब किताब चालू रहता है, Yeah, I did so much for this person, not doing anything for me. The world doesn't go like this. The world goes like this. You do something for somebody without expecting. You did it out of the goodness of your heart. Somebody someday will do something good to you. It doesn't have to come from the same person. That's the most important thing to think. So we have to stop doing that kind of hisab kitab. Just do what you can. Because when your time comes, you will get enough help. And I'm sure at our age, we have all that experience. So, because the world is a whole family, So somebody will do something good. Same way, if you think that Bhagwan is somebody, a whole universe ka aadhar, and you go with that faith, you will be well supported in whatever you need. That's how we have to look at it. Very, very important to understand the depth of what they are saying, So you get established, get good support and all that. Firm and stable in life, all those things. And when we meditate on Brahman as Maha, the next one was Maha, right? Maha. Maha is great, Mahan, Bhavati. So tum Mahan ban jaoge. Okay? So interesting, and then it's not like you are seeking fame, name, and others. That will come to you. That's what the Upasana they're talking about. So, and one very important point that Nikhilanandji brought, whenever they're talking about any kind of Upasana, it's not doing just one day or 2 days or just 1 week. It's a continuous thing. So it's like somebody practicing, like Arjuna, they said कि वो फेमस कहानी है महाभारत में, सब सो जाते थे ना, उसकी प्रैक्टिस नहीं खत्म होती थी. He would go outside quietly and practice. What siddhi he got? He could do the barn at night time. And that's why जब इन्होंने सारे, उनका एक रूल था ना कि खाली वो लोग दिन में लड़ेंगे. उन्होंने रूल बनाया था भीष्म पितामह ने, और भीष्म पितामह की जब वो पांडु की शैया पे लेट गए, तो ये दूसरे जो सेनापति बने ना, उन्होंने सारे रूल तोड़ने शुरू कर दिए और एक बार रात को हमला शुरू कर दिया. तो बोले अर्जुन को बुलाओ जल्दी से, बिकॉज ही नोज हाउ टू फाइट एट नाइट. उसको कोई दिन रोशनी की जरूरत नहीं है, बिकॉज उसने वो किया, उपासना की थी. So that's what it is. He was trying to bring that point. So he actually gave a drishtant of a story, and which will explain that what upasana they're talking about. कि there was one guy उसने मौन व्रत लिया. इंडिया में हम लोगों ने सुना है ना, मौन व्रत लोग लेते हैं. I won't speak, but he said I will speak very little when it's necessary and only speak the truth. That was his व्रत. खाली मौन नहीं कि खाली चुप बैठ गए और खाली इशारे से बोल रहे हैं और मन में खूब सारा चल रहा है. That's not called मौन व्रत. Like our teacher used to say कि जो लोग मौन व्रत रखते हैं ना, फिर वो इतना जोर जोर से वो इशारों से करते हैं कि वो सारा पीस खत्म हो जाता है उसके दिमाग का. That's not. मौन means अंदर से भी मौन होना. Okay, that was one point. Anyway, this particular guy said, मैं मौन व्रत रखूंगा, and I will do it, whatever I said, tell the truth and speak less. So he did it for 12 years. So उसकी उपासना से उसको ऐसी सिद्धि मिली कि उसके बाद वो जो भी बोलता था वो सच हो जाता था. एक दृष्टांत है यहाँ. So don't take it literally. उसका मतलब यही है कि the guy was so pure that उसको भगवान को जो सच बनवाना होता था ना उसके मुंह से बोलवा देते थे. So इसका, see what I'm saying? So that's how we have to look at it, that he became the proper instrument for Bhagwan. So उसके मुंह से जो निकला वो सच हो जाएगा, something like that. So that's what this upasana is about, doing some practice for a long time, with some good intention and all that, then you get all this. So keep that in mind. And then one more thing he said, and this is actually in Bhagavad Gita, we had already done, it was interesting. And I think we have talked about it, but it has the right context over here, that one of the verses in, I don't know exactly which chapter it is, but we have already done it, I know that Krishna Bhagavan tells Arjun, Prati jani na me bhakta pranashyati. I think it's in chapter 6. He says that my devotee will never perish, tum ye pratigya lo. So uska drishtant ye hai कि अर्जुन बोलता है, this is just a extension of a story, to get, उन्होंने ऐसा बोला नहीं, but उसके पीछे hidden सब meaning है. अर्जुन ने बोला, भाई मैं क्यों प्रतिज्ञा लूं, आप लो ना. आपके भक्त ने, मुझे क्यों बोल रहे हो. तो उन्होंने उसका एनालिसिस ये किया, प्रति जाना ही है डबल मीनिंग. प्रति जाना ही मतलब तू अच्छे से जान लो कि तुम्हारा भक्त नहीं है, और दूसरा है प्रतिज्ञा ले लो. बोथ मीनिंग्स आर देयर, कि मेरा भक्त. बिकॉज ही सेड कि भगवान जो है ना भक्त की प्रतिज्ञा रखते हैं. खुद की चाय तोड़ देंगे यार. वो दिखा दिया उन्होंने, महाभारत में. बिकॉज भीष्म पितामह वॉज अ ग्रेट डिवोटी ऑफ लॉर्ड कृष्ण. ग्रेट. ही डिड अ विष्णु सहस्त्र नाम. उन्होंने 1000 नेम ऑफ विष्णु ही सेड इट in the end before he passed away. But he was a great devotee of Krishna. And Bhishma Pitama ने, कृष्ण भगवान ने क्या प्रतिज्ञा ली थी, मैं शस्त्र नहीं उठाऊंगा. और भीष्म पितामह ने बोला मैं उठवा के रहूंगा. Because he had a relationship. मजाक में भी हम बोलते हैं ना, मैं तो करवा के दिखाऊंगा. So भगवान के पास दो चॉइस थी, किसकी प्रतिज्ञा रखे वो. दोनों भगवान के हाथ में है. He always chooses भक्त की. मैं अपनी प्रतिज्ञा तोड़ देता हूँ. एंड जब उनको क्रोध आया था तो उन्होंने उठा लिया था. फिर अर्जुन ने जाके पाँव पड़े उनके, यूज नहीं किया लेकिन उठा लिया था. सो प्रतिज्ञा अपनी तोड़ दी. तो what he was trying to say that in the उपासना, if you do it correctly, भगवान तुम्हारी हमेशा सुनेंगे. अपनी बात तोड़ देंगे लेकिन तुम्हारी नहीं तोड़ेंगे. That's the point he's trying to say, that he chooses to do kripa on the bhakt. Very interesting thing he told about. So, and then he was just saying that, some people, Aadhar ka bhi hai na yahan par, Pratishtha, yeah. When we were doing that Aadhar ka, he said something very interesting, that some people feel very helpless in the world, no? Kabhi when we are like faced with some huge challenges and we can't do anything, and so I feel so nobody's there for me, I feel useless, no support, meri raksha kaun karega and all that. That's where you need this upasana. If you do it as a support, you will start feeling, support from somewhere. It will come, the help, because this, all the prayers are answered. So you can look at it that way too. So. And then it says that if you meditate on Brahman as Brahma, then you get that Mahan, you become great yourself, big, I think Mahan is and different, sorry, there are two words. Mahan is there and Brahma is later on, never mind, sorry. So if you do it as a Mahan, then you will become Mahan. So that was one. And the next one was Mana. If you do your upasana for Brahman as that he's mind, then you manavana bhavati, you get the capacity to do mananam. That's what Shankaracharya ji kind of analyzed it, that you become capable of doing reflection, meditation, contemplation, all those things. That's very important, because sometimes we don't know how to contemplate on a subject, right? That capacity, and that in Bhagwan has said in chapter 10, I think it's going to come now, that one who is meditating upon me, I give them buddhi yoga, he will say. Buddhi yoga means capacity to understand. Because you can read, sometimes होता है ना कि हम जब 4 बार पढ़ते कुछ दिमाग में घुसता ही नहीं है. Some difficult subject, but capacity to grasp it, the correct import of what Bhagwan is trying to say. Even Bhagavad Gita it can happen. If you take his words wrong, you will do something wrong. So to contemplate correctly, you get that power when you think of Bhagwan as Manaha. So that's what it means. Hidden meaning behind it. Or you can say that you get the capacity to use your mind fully. जैसे मॉडर्न साइकोलॉजिस्ट भी बोलते हैं ना कि माइंड हम लोग खाली कैपेसिटी अपना थोड़ा सा यूज करते हैं. माइंड हैज अ ह्यूज कैपेसिटी. तो वो उपासना करने से उसकी कैपेसिटी बढ़ती जाती है. That's what we have to look at it. And then this is another interesting thing. If you do upasana as namaskar, that Bhagwan is sakshat namaskar, किसी भी तरह से देखो, नमस्कार करने योग्य समझो, or he himself, bow down to him and all that, then kya hoga? They say the way the words are, but we have to go deeper into it. Then desire also come and do namaskar to you. What does it mean? Desire get fulfilled. So, ordinary desires ki to koi baat hi nahi hai. Like, I'll tell you this example that it was Tejo Anandji who said ki, they are swamis, but they also have their, some preference in food and all that. तो एक बार उन्होंने गलती से बोल दिया कि, पकोड़े मुझे अच्छे लगते हैं. He's saying कि next 5 साल तक पकोड़े ने मेरा साथ नहीं छोड़ा. कहीं भी मैं जाऊं लोग पकोड़े लेके आए. So this is just an example that, or like there are people who are doing God's work, everybody wants to give their things. Oh, come in my car, come in my house, do this, all the luxury, kabhi uski kami nahi hoegi tumko. Because, you are bowing down to Bhagwan. And Nikhilanandji gave an example that it's something like a king is there, okay? And uske sare servants hain wahan pe, huh? So if you have a good relationship with the king, if you are doing namaskar to the king, means you have a good rapport with him, सारे उसके नौकर ऑलरेडी तुमको नमस्कार करेंगे. That's what it is. So and sometimes that example of Maya, if you go to Mayapati, तो माया तुम्हारी दासी बन जाएगी. Because Mayapati जो माया के he's a Mayapati, so why to go after little thing? Go with the big person. That's what is the whole hidden meaning behind it. So Namaha is that. And then comes that meditate Brahman as Brahman, large, infinite. Then you also become infinite. That's the final thing in some ways, right? That's what we are looking for, infinity. So if you meditate on Bhagwan, sometimes it's difficult to meditate Bhagwan as infinity because we don't understand it. So you start with the other upasana, but finally, if you go to that, then you will also become infinite. You'll also get that final experience. That's the hidden meaning behind it, limitless. That you will come to know that you are limitless. Nothing can bind you. No, and then in Vedanta, they use 3 things that bind us. Time, space, and object. They say, bind you. All 3 things will not bind you anymore. Those are the things we feel bound by. The objects weigh us down, and then we saw that Bhagwan's vibhuti is kala. We feel afraid of time, time is passing and this and that. You feel limited. You will not feel that way. And the last one, most interesting one, it said, because it sounds like, oh my God, what is that? That if you meditate upon Bhagwan as a destructive force, then all your enemies, you get power to destroy. All your enemies get killed and things like that. Or people who dislike you, hate and all. Mriyante, they all die. Itna strong language use kiya hai. But when we read Swamiji's commentary also, he's going to mention that what it means, that animosity will die. That's the most important thing. सब तुम्हारे दोस्त बन जाएंगे because उनके दिल में जो कड़वाहट थी वो सब मर जाएगी. सब तुमको गले लगाएंगे. See कैसे indirectly बोला उन्होंने. Because sometimes, young people like this kind of thing. Oh, finish kar do usko, ye hai, wo hai. The hidden meaning is there, The animosity, I thought that's such a beautiful thing. Attitude of animosity is they're talking about, that in their heart, people will get destroyed. And when we talk about Devi as a destructive force also, सारे दुश्मनों का नाश कर देती है वो. Mainly it is our negative things. That's why we pray to Lord Durga. So वो जो नवरात्रि होता है ना 9 दिनों का, उसमें उसका symbolism भी यही है. First 3 nights they worship Durga Devi, then next 3 times Lakshmi Devi, last 3 nights they worship Saraswati Devi. And the symbolism is, first 3 nights I am praying to Durga Devi to remove my tamas. That वो जो भैंसासुर है ना, जिसको मारा है उन्होंने, there's tamasic qualities in us. All the negative qualities you kill, and then once my heart becomes free of negativity, then I need to get all the good virtues. Lakshmi Devi की wealth आ जाए मेरे में. Not the यहाँ पर तो लक्ष्मी पूजा means धन आ जाए, ये हो जाए. Actual spiritual wealth आ जाए. All the virtues come in me. And then the last part is Saraswati Devi, that hey, I should get the knowledge, because once I have the virtues, knowledge is going to come. And that the 10th day is at Vijaya Dashmi, I got victory because I got the knowledge, and now I'm going to do the ras, dance with joy. That's the whole symbolism of Navaratri, not just doing Garba. Garba is a symbol of joy, but what is behind it is this, So that's what this negativity, when it's a destructive power, it's talking about negativity. Very important thing. Prepare our mind for Brahma Vidya. So these are all the upasanas that they talked about that we need to do so that we go towards that Brahma Vidya. So that's what this verse is all about. Should we read? Maybe we can read one or some little bit. Any question, first of all? Question or comment on these? But this is almost final stuff now. They have taken the upasana to all kind of levels. Yeah. Who would like to read? We can read a little bit, maybe you.
I can read it.
Yeah, go ahead.
Let him meditate the Supreme as the support. He becomes well supported. Let one worship Brahman as great, one becomes great. Let one worship it as mind, he becomes thoughtful. Let him worship that as nama, obeisance to him. All desire shall come to pay homage. Let him meditate upon that as the supreme. He comes to supremacy in life. Let him contemplate upon that as the destructive aspect of Brahman, all those enemies who hate him and those rivals whom he does not die around him. In this section, we find great psychological truth enunciated as experiments are described to illustrate it. As you think, so you become. Is a great truth recognized, accepted, and declared not only by the rishis of old, but even by the modern psychologists. Each one of us at this moment is an illustration in point. Everyone, whether he is a doctor or an engineer, a driver or an advocate, a student or the dullard, a pickpocket or a minister, whatever he be at present, is the result of his constant meditation and the resultant of his thoughts. Then, during concentration, if we approach the Lord with a definite attitude, we come to express that very same bhava in our life also.
So we saw that how scientific that, again, this is one other example of how scientific they were in their approach. That, Brahman is everything true, but whichever bhava you approach it with, that's what will come in you also. And then he gave the worldly example that sabhi ka jo ek profession hota hai, वो लोग ऐसे ही नहीं expert बन जाते हैं उसमें, right? You have invested time in it. You have thought about it so much, meditated upon it. कोई बोलता है, I don't know how to meditate. Oh, go see your life, what you have meditated upon that. That's why you got it. You know? So that's the truth they are telling, very psychological truth. But when it comes to Brahman, it's the same thing. Because we saw already, like I went through a lot of explanation, so you know what they're talking about. Yeah.
Thus we
Yeah, I want to make a comment here.
Sorry?
He says that if you think about becoming a pickpocket, you will become a pickpocket.
Yeah.
And it is something like where your consciousness only works as an illuminator. So whatever you want, consciousness without being affected will make that happen.
True. Absolutely. In fact, there was one दृष्टांत, ये जो एक चोर था ना, वो चोरी करने के पहले हमेशा भगवान को याद करता था, मेरा ये सफल बनाना, उसकी चोरी सफल भी हो जाती थी, एंड में उसको कर्मों का भुगतान देना पड़ा, So, and then we see that some of these, sometimes don't they say that people who are very, very intelligent and then they turn really bad, they are very destructive to the world? Because it's a law of nature. Whatever you concentrate upon, you do get siddhi. In the end, karmo ka phal milega. Magar that fact, what you are saying, that's true. And that's why every force in the world has two sides to it. It will manifest for the good or bad, whatever your intentions are, whatever you are trying to do. So we have to be very careful. Like they have so much concern about the AI right now. You can't stop it from going, but you have to make sure that it's used for some. Now they are using for all negative things, because that humans are misusing it. God has given all these tools and powers and all that, but if you use it for correct thing, and you can use it for real life, God realization, So true. But here, Swamiji covered all that. Yeah, that whatever you meditate upon, you get done.
Thus, we find a lot of difference between a Christ and an Aurobindo, a Shankaracharya and a Ramana, a Guru Gobind Singh and a Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. The attitude with which you meditate determines your character, temperament, behavior, and demeanor. The courage of Napoleon, the heroism of Gandhiji, the daring of Hitler, the perseverance of Churchill, the surrender of Ramakrishna, the dynamism of Vivekananda, all are different attitudes which the great masters expressed. This was because of the different bhavas with which they meditated and approached the Supreme.
What a beautiful way to explain. Now, like all these different swamis and great self-realized people also have their own bhava, and then they go, and that's why their personalities are different. And, they have their devotees who get attracted to that particular bhava, and they approach God through that. So I think that it teaches us another thing, that we can't say, my guru is better than yours. Nothing like that. Whatever, bhava you want, you can go through that. And that's what, it's a different, like Swamiji used to say that when you have a party, then you have many different food buffet. You say, okay, this person may like this, or you don't have to take everything from there. You can take what you like and approach God that way. It's perfectly legitimate. That's what he's trying to say.
Here, this idea is beautifully brought out when the teacher says that by meditating upon the Supreme as the support of the entire world of plurality, one becomes well supported by his fellow beings and the circumstances in life. Similarly, by meditating upon the Supreme as great, the sadhakas become great in life. To meditate upon the Lord as the mind is to yourself become a great thinker in your era.
So we went through all those three things, and then I was thinking about it. It's something like, whoever read the autobiography of Yogi, he had a firm faith in God, and he challenged his brother, right? He said, I'm going to take this trip, and God is going to take care of me. And the brother said, okay, if you can pull this through, I will also become your devotee. He didn't believe him. Bina paise waise liye wo train mein baith gaya, then he was taken totally care of. कोई खाना लेके आ गया, कोई ये लेके आ गया. Because he had that meditated upon God as a support, he got support from everywhere. You know, and it is not, what should I say, limited to India or some sadhus and all that. I know some other people. This fellow that I was talking about, that young fellow who went to India, he didn't have money. He didn't have anything. He went and took some odd job. People gave him khana, havana. He went to, his quest was Narsimha. Narsimha took care of him. सारे, he said कि वो लैंग्वेज भी नहीं बोलता था. व्हेन आई यूज्ड टू से नरसिम्हा साउथ में, हाँ, यहाँ पर कोई अपने ग्रुप में साउथ इंडियन नहीं है, मगर उनकी लैंग्वेज एक्सेंट भी अलग होता है, राइट. तो वो समटाइम्स ही दे वुड से सम अंडर गुंडो मुंडो, उसको समझ में नहीं आएगा, राइट. एंड देन दे विल पॉइंट दैट डायरेक्शन. तो बोलते मैं उधर चला जाता था, और इससे वहाँ चलते चलते मुझे मिल भी जाता था वो मंदिर, कहीं छोटा सा पहाड़ के अंदर और सम जंगल में. एवरीथिंग ही गॉट. I was like amazed at it. Just put the chill through my spine to think that somebody could do something crazy like that. And then there are other stories when people go, there's some of these teenagers and all go, I'm going to see the world. पैसे वैसे कुछ है नहीं, but somebody takes care of them. Because they have gone with faith. You know, it's going to happen, and it does happen. हम लोग के जैसे में हिम्मत नहीं होएगी. हमको जाने के पहले टिकट होना चाहिए, बैग पैक करो, खाना लेके चलो, ये बोलो. There are people who just go. And you know, because that kind of system does exist in the universe, that, you know, support.
The rest is all clear except the last phrase where it is said that if the Lord is meditated upon as the destructive power manifested in the world, as we have in Shakti Upasanas, we develop in ourselves such might and glory, such a powerful and compelling personality that opposition withers into nothingness, and even enemies become friends and allies. Here the word die around is not to be construed to mean that our enemies will die away. Rather, we should understand that the enmity will die away. Without the feeling of enmity, the enemy cannot maintain his belligerent attitude towards us.
Beautifully he explained, right? That when they talk about enemies die, it's not they're talking about subtle thing, that the enmity dies, and that's why they say that he becomes friends of all. And we have heard कि किसी ने बोला कि जहाँ पर वो स्पिरिचुअल एनर्जी होती है ना, जैसे सर्टन एरियाज जहाँ पर जैसे चित्रकूट है, यू नो, दे सेड यहाँ पर विद इन 5 miles कोई स्मोक नहीं करेगा, कोई ड्रिंक नहीं करेगा. किसी को लत भी होती है ना वहाँ की, वो कर नहीं सकता, छूट जाता है उसका, एकदम प्योर हो जाता है उसका माइंड, यू नो. एंड समटाइम वी फील लाइक दैट, नो, वी गो टू certain places and हमारा मन शांत हो जाता है. Like that garden is there made by Yogananda Paramahansa, you know, the meditation garden in Encinitas. You know, you feel so serene and quiet and all that. No thought of animosity towards anybody. It just, that's what it is. That if you do that upasana of this kind, तुम्हारे मन से निकल गया तो सभी के मन से भी निकल जाएगा. You know, that's even more subtler going in there. So that's what it is. Any question, comment? Okay, so I think everybody satisfied with this. It's coming closer. We will continue next time. Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhina, Sarve Santu Niramaya, Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu, Ma Kaschit Dukha Bhag Bhavet. Hari Om, Shri Guru Bhyo Namaha. Hari Om. Everybody have a great week.
Hari Om, everyone.
Hari Om.
See you.
Hari Om.